everyone, welcome to a new episode of our podcast. My name is Jess, and I guess I'm the boss, right, of this operation.
The queen of the operations.
And the king. And this is Rich.
Hey.
And this is Morgan.
Hi.
And today we're talking about 5 tips to maintain your SEO, that is search engine optimization strategy, during a crisis. Because I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there is a pandemic happening right now, and there may very well be one in the future, or this one may never end. Sorry to just, I thought about that.
Got dark very quickly there.
Yeah, sorry.
Imagine that, it just doesn't, like it's just always around.
Yeah, and it just mutates and...
Well, they haven't got obviously a antidote.
No vaccine.
It's not the right word. Vaccine.
They don't have a vaccine.
That's
yet,
right. But they've never had a vaccine for a coronavirus. That's what they said. So it's like, ooh.
Yeah. So great. So we might be in this for a while. So I know it can be really debilitating, and especially a lot of businesses are being negatively affected, which is, negative. So I'm like, how would I close that off? I think I did well. If you have a website, one of the most obviously crucial strategies you can have is for your SEO. That made sense. Yeah, I got there. Anyway. And also, if you got the pandemic blues, which I do have right now, sometimes it's hard to be motivated. There's a pandemic going on and people are dying, and if you watch CNN like me, there's a little counter to the right, and it's how many cases worldwide, how many people have died worldwide that they know of, and then how many people in the US have died, and it just keeps going up every time I watch it, and it's pretty sad. So yeah, let's just talk a little bit about this. So Morgan, since you did the hard yards, and I think that I should be able to rest now. I've just carried us through to this point. I think you talk to
the intro.
Talk to us a little bit. Okay, actually, I'm going to interview you first. Talk to us a little bit about your motivation for creating this piece on our website about an SEO strategy. Why SEO?
The motivation behind it was because it came from, I think, seeing on social media and just my friends and people that I know who own businesses and stuff like that. It's just the panic and the fear of oh my God, they're losing out on business, they're losing out customers' money, having to shut the doors, and they just don't know what to do next. But I'd be hopping on Google Trends and I'd just be searching because it's actually from my sister to keep her young kids entertained, and it just sparked the idea to jump on Google Trends, and I just search things, board games, kids activity stuff, and things that mums can do. Yeah. And then you just see obviously for certain things the trend going up since in the last 28 days or whatever the number was on Google Trends. And it's an indication that people are actually going online. They're still purchasing, they're still consuming things. They're just not going into a store to obviously buy them because we can't, but they're still buying them online. So it just reverse engineer off that, and it's, if you can get your business more noticeable online, and just ramp up your SEO. If you've neglected it, haven't even thought about it, then it's a pretty good opportunity now to do it, to make some money and increase your business. So I just did some research and wrote a blog about it.
That's awesome. While you were talking, I just looked at the Google Trends comparison between Taylor Swift and Kim Kardashian, and I can see that their interest over time started increasing at the same time. And then Kim Kardashian, I don't know what she was doing on what is this? It's November 2014. But something happened with Kim Kardashian around this time because the search went bananas.
Is that when she married Kanye?
Oh, I have no idea. Oh, she might have been preggo. I think that's when she was preggo with the little
Northwest.
one. Northwest.
Is that actually the kid's name?
Northwest.
Yeah.
It's not as crazy as far as kid names go. these days.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like North, Saint, Chicago, and I don't know the other one. Oh, Palm. Like the Bible, like P.S. Psalm.
Psalm West.
But it's not pronounced Palm? Or no? Am I wrong? Psalm.
I would have said Psalm, but I don't know if anyone ever.
You're probably right. I don't know.
Because I'm not the most religious guy you ever met.
You are. Anyway. Sorry, that totally probably messed up your mic. Okay. So one of the ways that you can keep working through your SEO strategy through a pandemic is number one, through your website, which is really good and really easy because that's obviously how you do it. What are some of the ways in which you would continue to contribute to this SEO strategy?
One way would be to update your Google My Business, and even...
Is that through your website?
Well, it's your SEO, so it's not...
Okay. Well, no, you tell me. I don't know. I'm not the expert.
So one of them, is either starting or activating your Google My Business, or updating your Google My Business. So like changing contact details if they've changed. So say if you did have a office or a business phone number, change it to either your mobile or whatever number you want to change it to. Updating your business hours if your business hours have changed.
That's a really big one. I know you were just on a little train here, and I'm just going to jump on there and stop that. That's a huge one right now. Especially with a lot of businesses that are like closed or they have reduced hours and all that kind of stuff. I've noticed that a lot of businesses aren't doing that right now. And
which is a bit annoying.
It's annoying, and then you're like, should I call? But our generation don't call. We don't use the phone for phone calls.
Yeah.
So we would just like not go. Like I wouldn't go. It's very wrong.
Updating, can't remember the term, but like if you have say, like an online order form, like I've gone to, it was actually Mean Bun in Mount Northern. I used the just online order to place the order, and I'd go in and pick it up. So when I'd go to make the order, I actually couldn't make the order saying that they're closed, but their opening hours on their Google My Business are saying that they're open.
Yeah.
So I'd ring them and say, just making sure you're open, I want to place an order. I just can't place it through your website, because the website, as soon as you add something to cart, it just says, sorry, due to the COVID-19, blah, 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 we are not open for business. So there can be a real big confusion on if you're open or not, and that confusion can cause people just to be like, this is just too hard. Like, even though it is a simple phone call, people just want to order online. Like, thankfully I was just really hungry and I wanted their Dark Knight burger. So I'm like, I will make the phone call just to confirm before I crush my hopes and dreams on this.
Yeah.
But generally, if I can't, and if the process of checking out is just too hard, or ordering, people are just going to click away, which I'm sure all of us have experienced. So yeah, that's, I think, one of the importance of updating or even having a Google My Business. Also putting more reviews up would be a good idea. If you have old or existing clients still, or even clients that are still buying from you, just get them to spend a few minutes just leaving some good Google reviews, because again, people are searching, and if you do have really positive reviews on your Google My Business, it would entice people more to click through and use your services, products, and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's another good one.
Yep. Go on. You're a article. There's a question simmering over here.
Oh god.
Go on.
Well, I got a website, right?
Do you?
Yeah, I got a website, and
this is the first time I'm hearing about this.
Yeah, it's richardschaefer.com.au, and
yeah, okay.
I was actually going to
look it up.
I don't know much about SEO. So how do I figure out what are the right kind of words or whatever I'm supposed to be putting on my website?
You can use a simple tool called Google Keyword Planner. Okay. So you create a Google account and you get access to all of Google's free tools, and you go to Google Keyword Planner, and you can use that to find appropriate keywords that are relevant to your business. So for example, if I'm obviously a photographer, if I want more photography work, I start off with what would I search for. If I'm looking for a photographer in Perth, what would I search for? And then you just go into Google search and you get the suggested keywords, and that's another good way of finding what keywords you can target. And if you know your competitors, you can obviously see what they're doing. You can obviously pay for software like Ahrefs or Ahrefs, however you pronounce it, but obviously no one's going to do that. So just using it's very expensive.
Very expensive.
So probably Google Keyword Planner and the suggested search are the best methods to find keywords appropriate for your website that are free.
And do I need to know anything special about actually putting these keywords onto my web page content?
Yeah, so you'd probably aim to put them into, say, your title and meta descriptions. And if you do have, obviously, blog content, to sprinkle them into your blog content and into like the header of your pages and into the first 100 words of like each page, which is roughly about 300 words if you can get about 300 words onto a page.
Okay.
So yeah.
And how do I know if it's making an improvement or not after a few weeks?
Well, you'd have to really this is where you're gonna have to start, I guess, paying, I suppose, because you'd have to you'd have to get something. I mean, I use SEMrush. I got the free version of that. It's okay. But it does, each week you do get an update on what keywords you are targeting, the position ranking that you are changing based off for that keyword. So there is free software that you can use to measure those metrics.
Like Search Console, is that any good?
Google Search Console. Yeah, Google Search Console is good as well. Google Analytics also is very helpful. Pretty much everything from Google is helpful. Like it's just, I guess, investing the time, like, because everything you will, I guess, be cutting costs in other areas of your business, a lot of it's going to fall back on to you. So if you did have a marketing agency or a team doing it for you and you can't afford them anymore, you have to then learn how to, you have to know what the numbers mean, you have to know what the analytics mean and stuff like that. So looking at blog posts like maybe Seth Godin's or Neil Patel's and stuff like that, or just YouTube. And Google actually have their own channel for like Google AdWords and Google Analytics, and all their blog content is actually converted into just like PowerPoint. Like it's like a PowerPoint video where it's just slides with a voiceover and it just shows you, and it's a cartoon animation and stuff like that. So that's actually very helpful and it's very straightforward and clear on how the information is given. So yeah, using that is very helpful to understand it, at least. A basic understanding to get you through. So that's what I would aim for.
And the biggest one is actually getting sales or inquiries.
Inquiries coming through. But I mean, it will take time, obviously, like anything.
It takes so much time,
but it's being just proactive.
And
about it,
as well. Consistency is like a really big thing for it too.
And with the extra time to help, it would be, I guess, if you don't start writing blogs to help with your SEO. If you are lazy with writing blogs for your website, maybe now that you have this extra free time, being more consistent with writing blogs for your website.
There's a lot of really good YouTube videos about writing, which is so silly, but
Google, the Ahrefs channel on YouTube have really good tutorials on how to write blogs, finding keywords for your blogs, posting and stuff like that. And it's very, same with Google, very easy, straightforward. The guy, Sam O is his name, the presenter. He's very good at presenting the information. So, I mean, just watching those will help you enough, I think, to get through. Until you can afford someone again, I guess.
That's what I'm wondering is would people in this sort of environment or climate, as people say, would they want to fork out the cash? I don't think so. No. I think a lot of people would just think, look, if I can do it myself, or if I get to the point where I'm overwhelmed or something and I can't figure it out, then I might pay. But even then, I won't pay. I'll pay what I think it's worth. I won't pay what maybe they're asking.
They'll try and get the bare minimum out of agency, but enough to just somewhat do the job. So, but it can just be done by yourself during this time. it's just going to be, if you have no idea of what you're doing, it's just the time understanding and learning about it that's going to sort of set you back just a little bit more. But I think just being proactive about it and just, giving it a go, I think that's the best way to learn. So.
Yeah. The other thing that you've noted as well, so you've done the Google My Business. With the social media, what would people be doing as well? Because you have noted social media in here. So
social media.
Because everyone's spending a lot of time on there, right? According to, I can't remember the number exactly because I read it ages ago, but I read Later's blog, and they reported I think 35 to 40% increase in Instagram users since the pandemic has started. So obviously that's a clear indication that people are just bored sitting at home, just scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it may be. So it's more like, now that you have the time to create content, now's the time to actually just start hammering it as much as possible, because people's eyeballs are on their phones, computers, tablets, whatever. So if you know what it is that your customer wants, but you've just never had the time to create the content, or you've just been lazy, now's the time to capitalize on that and just give them the content that they want to see and market to them in a way that will make them want to buy from you, and just use your products and services, depending what the services are, or at least not necessarily buying, I guess, but just staying top of mind. So then when it does blow over, it's just like, I needed my gutter fixed or something like that, because of just constantly seeing you on Facebook, Instagram, and all those platforms. They're more inclined to go to you than, because you're just going to be relevant and there to them. So it's and then if the thing that I try to get with the article is that you just have the time to do it now, to plan. If you didn't have a strategy before, now you have time to make a strategy. And then execute on the strategy, and you just got the opportunity to completely. I mean, as bad as it somewhat sounds, you have the opportunity to capitalize on what's happening, to improve your business once the dust is somewhat settling with it. So just staying on top of your social media and just creating a schedule and making content. You can do it with your phone. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't need anything really, just a mobile phone and some good lighting. And
it's actually really interesting because one of my friends lost her job, and she has started out on her own, and we were just talking about what she can do in terms of social media and things like that. And what we did was we just went through a bunch of competitor social media accounts, and actually just from seeing how they were posting and what they were posting and how often they were posting and what they were actually doing, we were able to create her own strategy. So for instance, we noticed that one of her competitors just always had Instagram stories. You know how it clears after 24 hours? There was always that red ring around it, just constantly. It was just 24 hours goes by and something else goes up. It was just constantly staying in people's minds. And then it was every 3 days or so. It was kind of interesting because you could see it on the tiles, on Instagram. It was every 3 days was a quote, an inspirational quote, and then followed by, whatever. And the other thing that I noticed worked really well was, rather than just shots of products, which can be very boring because you're not really associating that with anybody, and people obviously they connect with people, was to actually have that personality side come out in their Instagram, because at the end of the day, people do business with you. So if they like you as a person and they're that person seems cool and funny and whatever else, they're more likely to want to do business with you, because at the end you are selling yourself. So I mean, and
I think even more in the current climate, if people have shifted away from searching for stuff online to just consuming stuff,
there is a lot of stress out in the world.
Yeah.
Keep things quite light, because, like you just said, they're not necessarily actually ready to buy your product, so you don't need to try and jam that down their throat, because they're just not in that mindset. But if you do connect with them and keep it entertaining, then they'll have a bit of a giggle, and then they'll remember you when they're actually ready, like you said. So.
Yeah.
And then when they have the money.
And they got the money and the girls and the power. I don't know, whatever.
Because again, like obviously people, a lot of people have lost their jobs or lost a lot of income, lost.
Yeah.
Like they're just not in I guess, a purchasing state of mind. So.
Oh my god, yes.
I mean,
it's like this frugal.
Like I am in a person, like I see that, oh, god damn, I want to buy that, but I'm like, oh.
Because you never know where you're going to end up.
You just don't know what. Yeah, you just don't know. Like it's I don't want to buy it now, and then next week something happens that affects income, and you're like, god damn, I could have kept that $200 or whatever it is. Like, so
it's weird because I thought like you would have been in New York.
Yeah, I would be right now.
Now.
Yeah.
And I was going to Europe this year, and it's like now it's like at a stage where it's like, well, I probably am not going to go to Europe. I'm not saying that, I really, I totally aware there's a terrible thing happening right now. But what my point of this somewhat selfish rant is that you don't know how like things just change so quickly, that, you know, the idea that you had in your head of something that was going to happen, or this kind of safety net of like an income or a job, or I thought I had all these plans and then it didn't eventuate. Which is a John Lennon quote, which he then stole it from someone else. I can't remember. I think it was in Reader's Digest. I can't remember, but it was like life is what happens when you're making other plans, and then it was in one of his songs.
I got to admit though, like the restrictions are being lifted a lot sooner than what I thought. Like I guess in the beginning there was a whole heap of like fear and panic, and the cases just kept going up and all that, so you just think, oh my god, it's just like it's just getting so intense now, like is it gonna get better? And then you just we've done well, like Western Australia and Australia, and now that it's coming sort of back down again, you can start seeing that light at the end of the tunnel where you can go back to a form of normality, but that normality is going to be completely different to what we used to like before. I'm thinking like again with travel, how's going through airport customs and stuff like that gonna change
countries and
change because of this? They're gonna have like, I don't know, machines or something that can, or you have to do an actual test for say COVID-19 before you even step onto the plane. Like if there's no vaccine for it and stuff like that, like that's sort of just interesting thinking about that, like.
Yeah, I think as well that, you know, as like a whole, or maybe as Australia's probably different to other places where it's not so great, but I think like living your normal life, and then, you know, Scott Morrison's like, you can only be outside with 100 people, and then the next day is like 50 people, and the next day it's like 10 and 2, and then you're like, oh my, and it escalates so quickly, and I think there's a lot of actually like trauma associated with that, especially for people who have young kids, and they're like, oh my god, this is happening, and I've got kids, and I've got to somehow explain this to them, that they can't go and see their friends, or they can't go to school, or whatever it is. And I just think like I can just kind of see that, like you can see it in people's faces when you go shopping, there's this really kind of like anxiety, and I think that will kind of stay with people, because I think there is that now always going to be that uncertainty in the back of your mind. Like one moment I'm like, I'm just going to the shops and buy some toilet paper, and the next minute I'm like calling my hubby going, wherever you find toilet paper, get it, because we have none. And like it was so ridiculous, it was just crazy.
Same with the hand sanitizer.
And now there's just too much. People can't get rid of it, mate. And the asthma puffers was like a really bad situation. That freaked me out so much that now I'm just like going to be more vigilant with that and make sure I have more than one, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I've got like 4 now. I was like, every time I watch it, I'm just like, gonna get an asthma inhaler, don't know how long it's gonna last for, don't know, like,
I know.
keep it stocked.
Yeah.
Keep it stocked.
Do we have any questions before we like close out for the day and revisit Karen, because she's probably super lonely?
No, I went up there before. She's having a party up there. She's
she's having a good time. She'll like the music on and stuff.
Because we're listening to like Neil Diamond and stuff before, and then I got into like full like heavy metal. Like I was like walking past Karen, I was like, interesting.
Letting it
Okay, like
Just doing it.
she's like, an hour. Okay, now I can listen to like 3 albums or something in like an hour.
Yeah.
But
Okay, well, thank you so much for social distancing joining us.
Yeah,
that was really awesome. We're so far
Roughly,
apart.
yeah.
We're roughly apart. Thank you so much, and yeah, thanks for listening.